Welcome, everyone, to the Sickos Community Podcast. This is our podcast for the evening of March 3rd, 2024. This is March. We are here.
Woohoo!
We have made it to March. We sleep
don't sleep
in
until
May.
May.
Or, I think so. Someone said we sleep in April, but I guess, when is the actual championship? It's like mid-April, right?
It's like early April.
So you can sleep in May. Okay.
You can sleep at, once the tournament's over. It's allowed. It's a lot of days in April without any basketball to not sleep.
I feel like you're so juiced up at that point that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're just so hyped from all the March Madness and the little bit of Aprilness that it lasts you until May Day and you crash.
Maybe you have other things like you watch college basketball, right? Like that's your life. College basketball ends and you got to do your taxes. Like you have to then the rest of April is just catching up on all the life stuff that you've ignored for the past few months.
That was January. Felt that.
Yeah.
I did my taxes today.
College baseball season.
Yeah.
And so we just keep rolling right along.
Right. I mean, you've got that going. With me tonight, as always, I have Commish, Pitt Girl. Beth will be here at some point. And we have special guest Catherine. Catherine, how are you?
I'm doing so well. Thank you for asking, Jordan. I had a great weekend.
Awesome. Pitt Girl, how are you?
I'm good. I'm going to seize an opportunity to pivot the podcast really hard, briefly.
Yeah.
And that is that obnoxiously Pitt boyfriend and I have begun watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine because it is now on Netflix.
Awesome.
It is a delightful
I need to catch it up then. Okay.
It's a good show. I recommend it. We are quite far into season 1, given that we started watching it literally Friday. Yesterday? I don't know. Linear time, etc., etc. Mm-hmm. However, we reached the Thanksgiving episode tonight, and there's a plot point in the Thanksgiving episode in which Detective Peralta, main character of the show, starts yelling while he is in the middle of a gambling bust that he does not want to see the score of the football game. This episode is occurring on Thanksgiving, so I am coming into this. The show is set in New York, assuming that it is going to be an NFL game.
Right.
TV cuts to the screen, and I see that it's an Ole Miss game, and I'm like, oh, hey, they picked the Egg Bowl. This is going to be great. They cut back to the screen. It's Ole Miss, South Carolina in Columbia.
Has that ever been on things?
No.
Okay.
And it gets better. It stops on this long enough that you can pause and look at it. Ole Miss was number 4. I go back. Ole Miss being in the SEC West and South Carolina being in the SEC East. They don't play that frequently.
Right.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine started airing in 2013. This game was played in 2009. And they used it as the role for this in September in 2009.
What?
And it was the game on the screen for some reason and this was an SEC on CBS, or no, it was an ESPN game based on the score bug.
But Fox,
and Brooklyn Nine-Nine aired on Fox.
That's so weird. Why do that?
Well, it was Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It was airing on Fox, but it was produced by Universal, which is NBC. But I mean, I would think that, yeah, it's just like, okay, we just have footage. Let's just put it up. The one thing I will say, of people I know of making TV shows, I feel like Mike Schur is maybe one of the ones that would be like, oh, we have to get the sports clip right.
But you would think so.
I think you're the only person that's going to pause and fact check that.
I've finally realized this with Pitt Girl doing this. I finally realized how Star Trek and Star Wars people feel when they correct something about hey, no, there's no way that Ole Miss and South Carolina are playing on Thanksgiving evening. That is reserved for the Egg Bowl. This is a factual error, and it needs to be corrected.
It's just, it was the only reason I caught it.
This situation.
The only reason I caught it is because I glanced at the screen, fully expecting it to be an NFL game, and then was pleasantly surprised that it wasn't. And then immediately fell all the way down the rabbit hole, and obnoxiously Pitt boyfriend was just sitting there looking at me like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I mean, this is the same creator also who threw in how many Blake Bortles references into Good Place. So
exactly. Great show, by the way. We love The Good Place.
Hey, you know what? Hey, Commish, have you ever watched Good Place?
Yeah, I watched all 4 seasons of that.
Damn it. I was hoping, because that would be a good watch along.
Oh no, I've seen all that. I've probably forgot what occurred, but when I watch TV shows, like I like binge them, and then they're basically erased from my memory. But then as soon as I start watching like episode 1 or 2, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember all this.
Your brain is like a fucking VHS tape that they keep remagnetizing and clearing.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, I totally remember this. Yeah, this is okay. Yes, Chidi was the name of one. I don't even remember the name of the girl.
Eleanor.
That's how I feel editing this podcast.
That's how I feel doing this podcast.
Like for me, like one of my favorite movies has them watching Notre Dame USC on Christmas Eve.
Die Hard.
And people just roll with it, and it's like, yeah, like they wanted them to be watching football, and like what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Fellow committee member Chicken Sedan actually appeared in my mentions this evening to point out that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie, specifically because that game is occurring during the movie.
Commish, how are you, sir?
Oh, good. I had a fun weekend. I did a lot of stuff. I bought a new sink.
Did you buy the Northwestern sink?
No, I did not.
Aww.
We can talk about that in a little bit. Somebody else beat us to it.
Yes,
apparently
we will.
14 people. But I bought a new sink. I got a new sink. It's kind of fancy upgrade sink.
Ooh.
And it came with like a cutting board and like a drying rack on this thing. I'm like, okay, this works. It was on sale. It's perfect. Whatever. And new garbage disposal and everything. The house is probably about 11 years old, so some of the stuff is starting to get kind of dated, and so we're slowly starting to upgrade things. And apparently, like the sink handle stopped turning, like it doesn't want to go left or right, and so we have to use like the sprayer thing on everything. So I was like, okay, it's time for a new. And also, it cut my wife, so I was like, okay, it's definitely time for a new sink. So definitely, we got that, and that was done at like 7:30 a.m. at Lowe's on Sunday morning because the kiddos didn't want to sleep.
Yeah, of course. Might as well get going.
And then the other thing that happened this weekend is I almost bought the MLS season pass because there was a snow soccer game. I almost bought it, like just to watch the second half of the game.
Yeah, that's a business.
I could have charged it to the committee, but I didn't do that. If there's any other weird stuff like that happens, I'm definitely going ahead and do that.
Hi, Beth. How are you?
Hi. I'm swell. How's things?
Y'all, I told you guys I had something that I wanted to cover with y'all. I had put in the chat earlier that I said there was something that I wanted to talk about to start with, and that Beth probably shouldn't have a snack while we were doing this, and here's what it is. I want to talk about the Kentucky meat shower.
Hell yeah.
I'd never heard of this before.
Uncle John's bathroom reader, I think for teens, had this story in it.
Okay.
So I am familiar. Carry on.
So I'm gonna read part of the Wikipedia article here. Let me read the info box first. Kentucky Meat Shower is the title of this article if you want to read along with me. Date, March 3rd, 1876. Happy anniversary. Time, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Duration, several minutes. Location, Bath County, Kentucky, U.S. Cause, inconclusive, possibly regurgitating vultures. The Kentucky Meat Shower was an incident occurring for a period of several minutes between 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. on March 3rd, 1876, where what appeared to be chunks of red meat fell from the sky in a 100 by 50 yard area near Olympic Springs in Bath County, Kentucky. There exist several explanations, from blood rain to vulture ejecta, as to how this occurred and what the, quote, meat was. Although the exact type of meat was never identified, various reports suggested it was beef, lamb, deer, bear, horse, or possibly human.
The most mysterious of meats.
Sky meat.
This is when Arby's was created.
Yes, we have the meat.
The Big Bang meat theory.
God said we have the meats, and there was
God
meat,
said
and
we
it
have
was
the
snow
meats.
on the second day.
And Arby's was created.
You see, I was going to say manna from heaven. No. Meat from heaven.
A farmer's wife, Mrs. Crouch, was making soap on her porch when she reported seeing a piece of meat falling from the sky. She said she was 40 steps from her house when the meat started to slap the ground. Just the sound. Mrs. Crouch and husband believed the events were a sign from God. A similar event was later reported in Europe. The meat pieces were approximately 2 by 2 inches, one was at least 4 by 4 inches. The meat appeared to be beef, but according to the first report in Scientific American, 2 men who tasted it judged it to be lamb or deer. Y'all, don't eat the sky meat.
But they did.
There's nothing going on in 1876. Meat just fell from the sky. Somebody's going to eat it.
You know what? They were going to be dead by now anyway. So, like, if they hastened the process along a little bit, it wasn't enough to, impact today.
Yeah, back before, like, health inspections and stuff, would it even be that bad to eat questionable? Like, all meat is questionable meat in the 1800s.
Upton Sinclair didn't talk about rating meat, though.
No.
I don't remember that part of the jungle. But it's been a while since I read it.
This reminds me that I just taught my kid the 5-second rule.
Oh, this is it?
There you go. If the meat rains
rule.
and you catch it.
Hey, the meat lands on my shoulder, it's safe to eat. But it's on the ground. 5-second rule. Let's try the sky meat. My wife hates the 5-second rule, by the way. But
you're saying your wife hates the sky meat. I was like, I get that.
Hey, my wife would not eat the sky meat. I would probably try the sky meat.
So here's my thought on this one. And that is that the 5-second rule starts whenever I notice the meat, because as far as I know, that's when time started.
Oh,
and the second thing is that I would like to turn your attention, sir, to Exodus chapter 16, where the Lord had it rain down sky meat and we were all supposed to eat it. So eat your sky meat.
I'm going to need a ruling from official Sickos Committee Pastor Jason Kirk.
Yeah, we'll send him a message about sky meat.
Say that as far as we know, only the manna really fell from heaven. It was just quail came and covered the camp. But covered from where? The sky.
Apparently, other scientists believe it was lung tissue coming from either a horse or a human infant. Quote, the structure of the organ in those two cases being almost identical.
But how did the lung of questionable provenance end up in the sky and then falling back down? This is raising more questions than answers.
I mean, there had to be some sort of weird, crazy industrial revolution explosion that launched this meat.
I just find it hard to believe that an infant lung and a horse lung are that similar.
I can't tell. Just you put them right there. I could never tell the difference.
Yep. You close your eyes, you never
was
tell.
Wild. People were just making things up. I would like to include my favorite quote here. Quote, locals flavored the explanation that the meat was vomited up by buzzards. This is a quote, who, as is their custom, seeing one of their companions disgorge himself, immediately follow suit.
Like Virginia Tech fans.
If it's sympathetic vomiting, then what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And then 9 days later, apparently, meat rained on London as well. Or they say red corpuscles with a vegetable appearance fell on London.
I'm going to need a movie about this whole saga in the style of 2004 Carrie Conran cult classic Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow, called Sky Meat and the World of Tomorrow.
Can you merge it with Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, hey, what is
Chance of Sky Meat?
What is Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs?
Cloudy with a Chance of Sky Meat. Yes.
How do we not have a band called Arrow Lung?
So okay, so there actually is
everything changed when the fire lung attacked.
It's like a combination of Aerosmith and Aqualung. What is? Okay, all right.
Yeah, Arrow Lung.
So apparently there is a rock fusion band called the Aristocrats. They have a song called The Kentucky Meat Shower, and now I'm going to have to go find that. You can actually find pictures of the sky meat in jars. Still, I'll post that in the chat as well.
Oh, tell me it's in the motor museum.
They like pickled it or preserved it.
Please tell me they put it in mason jars. I really want,
No, they're like old potion-y jars. I drop one in the
Pitt
chat.
Girl, if this is in the Mutter Museum, we're going.
Okay.
So anyways, there was a meat shower and that happened. The other weird thing I found out today was that Tufts University, who plays D3 football, they're known as the Tufts Jumbos because P.T. Barnum gave them the elephant Jumbo taxidermied, and they put it on campus. And it burned down in the 70s. They took the ashes of Jumbo and put it in a Peter Pan peanut butter jar. And that jar is taken by athletics teams for good luck. We are never going to run out of content, guys.
Was Jumbo the one... This is so dark, and I very much apologize. Was Jumbo the one that Thomas Edison
Topsy
killed?
That was Topsy.
Yeah, Jumbo was not the one who got electrocuted, no.
Okay.
That was Topsy.
R.I.P. to Topsy.
Jumbo was a Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey, right?
Yep. That was P.T. Barnum donated the elephant to Tufts. Well, after it was dead, of course. Speaking of
the Deadest Show.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the jar meat. Yes, Commish, you are exactly right. It looks like bacon in the jar meat. The jarred sky meat.
Do we think it tastes like bacon?
I do not wish to find out.
They said it was deer, right? They said it tastes like deer?
Deer or lamb.
I want to shout out to Stuff You Missed in History class and their Unearthed episodes where they talk about discoveries that have been made. And one of my favorite categories on there is food and potables, where you find out how many scientists discovered food in like ancient kurgans and then tried to eat it.
I will drink. Was it the ancient Egyptian liquid?
No, you do not get to drink the mummy juice,
I
Jordan.
want to drink the mummy juice.
Okay, so let's take a straw poll here on the podcast. Who would be willing to attempt to eat the sky meat?
I'll eat this. This sky meat, the specific one right here, or like if it had happened live.
If it was like fresh, I mean,
if it were fresh
out
sky
of the
meat.
jar, I don't think
eating
I'm going to
fresh
touch
sky
it.
meat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, hold up. I have a factor that I need to consider here. It would depend upon the temperature, the external temperature of the day in question. Because if it's like an 80-degree day, then hell no.
But what if you have like that? What if you have like a good hail layer on top? Like you get that really cold upper air, and maybe it's falling through and flash frozen.
It's fucking coming.
Someone here has taken ServSafe.
Yeah, I was gonna say most of my food safety knowledge comes from watching Bar Rescue, but I would not eat the meat. I will say that.
Yeah, I would not eat the meat.
I would not serve the meat to customers.
I'm Cajun, so I would eat a lot of meat, but I would not eat the sky meat.
I mean, I'm gonna grill it. Let's go.
If this happened in Louisiana, there is no story except everyone ate well that day.
I mean, I also would be concerned about eating sky meat and then think that sky meat is gonna create meat terminators that rise up.
Well, I mean, like, what if that started like a new religion?
This is just cloud tartar, and I will happily eat it with cloud tartar sauce.
If this had happened 2,000 years ago before this date, that's a religion. You're right.
We could make a religion out of it.
Meat came from the sky. That's something you write about forever.
You mean like in Exodus 16, hypothetically?
Uh-huh. Exactly. There you go. We have more food stuff I want to talk about, however. It came to my attention today that the Pennsylvania Dutch, and again, I'm blaming it on you two, and Arthur, of course, their chicken and waffles is not delightful piece of fried chicken syrup. It is like chicken in bechamel on like a Eggo.
Oh, no, it's not bechamel. I wish it was bechamel.
No, it's not.
I will take this one as someone who is, as the Pennsylvanian on the pod who is from PA Dutch country. PA chicken and waffles is like shredded chicken and gravy and waffle.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, I have actually never eaten it because I have the smell of school lunch PA chicken and waffles.
Oh yeah,
this is burned into my brain.
So typically this is in the declension of turkey family of products. Mm-hmm. So like your school lunch does like your turkey dinner, and then you do like your turkey tetrazzini noodles thing, and then your last day when you're just like down to the scrappy scraps of turkey is like turkey and waffles or chicken and waffles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sad Eggo waffle, extremely sad turkey, extremely sad gravy. It smells so bad. I will never eat it. I have never eaten it.
I will eat it because I'm a trash monster.
I would eat it from someone's house. But the idea of this being served at a school cafeteria where it's we're already talking questionable like that.
Oh yes.
Yeah, this is very much just like a deconstructed chicken pot pie on a slab.
Except y'all don't call chicken pot pie real things either.
Hey.
No, we'll get there. Catherine has a question.
So what I'm hearing is, and I'm throwing out the cafeteria thing because I'm with you. Nothing good can come from that. But what I'm hearing is a variation perhaps on chicken and dumplings.
Ish.
Yes.
Ish.
If
the waffle's absorbing some of the gravy and the gravy tastes good, and maybe we get a little chicken and dumpling kind of action.
Mm-hmm. It's usually pretty salty gravy that you're going to put onto it, and so like you're getting like the salty sweet mix with the waffle. I've not had this in a long time for obvious reasons, but that is my strongest memory.
I'm going to say that this does sound, if cooked well and not in a cafeteria, it sounds like something I might try.
But if I ordered chicken and waffles somewhere, and this is what came at me, I would be just shaken to my core.
Knowledge is always, you can't give unknowing consent. Knowledge is always important. So I agree, you have to walk in with both eyes open. But, if I know what it is and I walk in with a concept that it's going to not be a delicious crispy fried chicken with a side of waffles, which also I'm honestly not that big on anyway, but I could eat this. I wouldn't be appalled.
I will say I have never fully understood the concept of chicken and waffles in either sense. Like, why do we want the waffle? Why waffle? Why waffle?
Because it is the perfect 2 a.m. food. You
Okay,
want
that's fair.
breakfast, and you want. I mean, it came up. I remember correctly, like, as a 2 a.m. post playing shows food.
Okay,
Where you
this
would
is
want
reasonable.
you want
So-
breakfast and I want dinner.
I have bad news for those of you who are chicken and waffles purists. You're not, actually. According to PBS, the earliest American chicken and waffle combination appeared in PA Dutch country during the 1600s, where
Don't
home
care.
cooks made
Don't
waffles
care.
and topped them with chicken and gravy. A
Don't care.
different, decidedly soul food-inspired approach to this pairing worked its way into popular culture much later with the opening of the Supper Club in Harlem, New York in 1938. So,
You know what? Hey,
Correct.
we fixed. Hey,
I'm not going to sit here and say who did it better because I've never had the other version and I can't. But I mean, history is what it is.
The other thing that I got twitchy about was we went back to the PA Dutch call chicken pot pie this like noodly dish.
Mhm. Yeah. It's basically chicken noodle soup with egg noodles. It
And
is
hat.
not, it's not chicken pot pie as generally conceptualized. Noted Lancaster County native Liam from Well, There's Your Problem and I are on the same page with this. We are both South Central PA people who think this is insane, but it is a thing that other people will tell you is correct.
We're gonna get Liam on the pod for some Central Pennsylvania stuff.
Yeah, Liam, come on the pod to talk about Temple football and be extremely South Central PA with me. That would be great.
What is the Shady Maple Smorgasbord?
Oh, have we not talked about this on the pod yet?
No.
Were people in Dimensions talking about this?
So someone mentioned it, and they were like, "Oh, that sounds like something you get at the Shady Maple Smorgasbord."
100% something
Yes.
you would get at Shady Maple. Shady Maple is actually somewhere I have never been as someone who grew up in Lancaster County because it's kind of a tourist trap now, and it's on a whole other end of the county from where I'm from. But it is a buffet, all-you-can-eat smorgasbord style thing that mostly does PA Dutch food, best known among people who actually live in Lancaster County for the fact that it was, maybe still is, free on your birthday.
I think it still is. I will look.
You get 50% off if you're over 90 or below 10. Okay, that someone said that, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah,
yes,
this definitely feels
you'd
like a
still
place.
get a free birthday meal.
Shady Maple Smorgasbord. Okay, well there you go.
I hear good things, but it's
It's
not
a free. It's a free
convenient.
with a purchase. It's not straight free, so you have to have another adult who does buy something, but you get a free meal.
I'll go with you. They have prime rib night. Nothing bad ever came from a prime rib night buffet. Hey, they have Cajun catfish there. We got to try that out, folks.
Oh, God.
I'm sure that's good.
Ooh, it's a little spicy. They put some black pepper on this.
We put it next to the sweet paprika.
Commish, I will make my first trip to Shady Maple on your birthday so we can try the
yes.
catfish.
Oh,
Here's my typical problem with people. Well, I hate saying the word northern, but with folks who are not from my neck of the woods,
That works.
when they use the term Cajun, what they often mean is just cayenne pepper.
Yeah.
And that is it. And there's no beautiful blend of spices. There's no, variety. It's just like straight heat in a way that is very unpleasant.
And usually just a fuck ton of garlic powder. Like that's the other thing we get too.
When I went to a place in Philadelphia, and it was a mistake to do this, but I was just excited. I was like, oh, Cajun, how exciting. And I didn't even get garlic powder. I just got straight cayenne, and I was just so disappointed. And I asked, like, where are you from? And they were not from Louisiana. They were from, I'm trying to think, I feel like they might have actually been from, like, Oklahoma originally. It was not good. It was a bad experience.
Famously Cajun.
there's
Oklahoma.
definitely a rule that I've implemented. If it doesn't touch, if the state does not like border or touch Louisiana, I'll give it a shot, but I'm going to be overly cautious. Like, I know Texas touches.
Would you eat El Paso Cajun food?
I knew you were going to go there right away. I was like, I was going to be cautious for that, but no, I am not an El Paso for Cajun food please give me some awesome like chilies
Yeah, for sure.
and Mexican food. I am not. If somebody's going to El Paso for Cajun food, that's probably not the best bet. I don't know if the Rio Grande has crawfish though, but
only one way to find out.
I would not
Only one way
trust
to
Rio
find
Grande crawfish.
Rio Grande crawfish.
I would not trust Rio Grande crawfish.
Just
at all.
today.
Okay. So we do have a couple of actual football things to talk about.
Yeah.
First off, why do we always ask stupid questions at the combine?
I don't.
To freak out the players.
It feels like the weirdest job interview ever. And like some of these questions that they ask are like ultimately ridiculous. They produce some like crazy sound bites. And if it was in like a normal line of work, they are walking the line of like crossing many different government regulations that you can't ask people these questions.
Yeah, you can't even ask them how old they are. And you're like,
no.
Always shit like, what?
I don't know.
If you were a bird, what kind of bird would you be?
Yeah.
Not a protected question.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I feel like also there are places like, and it's definitely not across the board if you're seeking employment in like normal people stuff, but there are places that will just have weird questions. A lot of like, it's like service jobs are trying to come up now with like these just insane questions, like basically NFL draft type stuff. Well, not quite NFL draft type stuff, but like just insane questions to try to like make sure like we have like the people with the best personality or something like that based on how they answer these questions that we've decided are going to tell us about. Like it's insane. It's insane. Like at least with the NFL draft, there's like, you'll probably have like tape and measurables and stuff that people will go off of. Like hiring is just absolutely insane. Like people who hire people are just crazy people.
Yeah, I mean, some of these questions I was compiling questions from the NFL Combine.
Wait,
like,
are all
over the
these
years.
real?
Yeah, these are all real questions.
Holy shit! I thought
Right.
these were like parodies.
No, these are all real. So I've been able to verify. There's been like some, I believe Stephen Ruiz wrote about some of these. Others, I watch videos. So I was watching videos this weekend of them asking random questions. Either the reporters were asking the questions, or the reporters were asking the folks at the combine, what are the weirdest questions you've got? Like,
Okay.
hey, when I interviewed with the Philadelphia Eagles, they said this. Or when I interviewed with the Saints, they said this. Or the Colts asked me this question. Or it was just certain things. So I compiled like some of the highlight questions that I got, I guess, like all of the weird ones. And I kind of want everybody to play this game and give me some sort of answer for some of these questions, because I am very curious.
I love it.
On what you folks would do here. So first question is, whoever wants to start first was, how many ways could you use a brick in a minute?
So this is a tough question because there was a movie that just came out recently called The Bricklayers starring Aaron Eckhart. He's a bricklayer, but it's an action movie. Like that's like his cover or something. But it went
Does he beat someone to death with a brick?
I don't know. So it went direct to streaming. It did not get a theatrical release, sadly, so I haven't seen it yet.
Oh.
I'm hoping it did like they did a streaming release where it's like you have to pay a lot of money to stream it.
Oh, no, I'm not.
So
I'm not
I'm
doing
like-
that at all.
So
Right, like,
Arthur's
I'm
answer
hoping
is
to wait.
talk about the bricklayer. All right, next.
Exactly.
Somebody
yes.
else.
I got 8.
Got 8. Okay. You want to list
Yeah.
them?
Sure. Step stool, panini press, hammer, bug killer, projectile, which I guess projectile is going to be last because I have to do it in a minute. Oh shoot, what were the other two that I thought of? Oh, weight, just crunching it up, pressing it, whatever the heck you want to do. That gets me to 6. I had 2 more, and I've lost them.
Time's up. Next. Pitt Girl.
In addition to what Catherine said, paperweight.
Paperweight.
Okay. All right, Beth.
Build a wall, kill a person, do a Pink Floyd cover, bake some bread on it, have a child on it, feed on bricks. It was an old timey thing. And potentially throw it through a window at the neighbor that I don't like.
All right, Jordan, go.
Just kept saying kill someone with it in my head over and over again. I think that's a problem. I can't get past it.
Yeet.
All right, somebody needs to go to therapy. All right, next question. What kind of a fish are you? Arthur, go.
I mean, I'm a shark.
All right. Pitt Girl.
I would like to imagine myself as an anglerfish.
Oh, nice. Catherine B.
I mean, I'm just going to be a catfish. It's fine.
All right, she's delicious. Beth.
Ocean sunfish. I make no sense.
Nice. Jordan, go.
Is a dolphin a fish?
No.
There's a dolphin fish.
That's his
There's a
answer.
dolphin
That's it.
fish.
All right, next question. Are you afraid of clowns? Arthur.
I'm not afraid of anybody.
Oh, all right. Pitt Girl next.
Challenge accepted, Arthur. Also, no.
Catherine B.
Yeah.
Beth.
No.
Jordan.
Yes.
All right, Commish,
That
no.
feels on brand.
Next question. Are birds real? Arthur.
Yes, birds are real, but they don't have teeth.
That's correct. All right, Pitt Girl.
What Arthur said, but also no. Birds are not real. They are
Oh,
a government
okay.
conspiracy.
Catherine
And
B.
they don't have teeth.
They are real, but I do enjoy a good joke.
Beth.
Birds are not real. In this essay,
Jordan.
Birds are not real.
All right. I believe birds are real. Pigeons are not. All right. What color is chocolate? Arthur.
Is this a trick question? I mean, it could be white.
All right. Arthur's question. Pitt Girl next.
It depends on what kind of chocolate. There are many shades of brown and also white if you are a white chocolate consumer, but I need more information.
Catherine B. Go.
I don't think white chocolate has cacao in it, and so I'm going to say it's not chocolate, and therefore chocolate is brown. Of various shades, as Pitt Girl noted.
All right. Beth, go.
cocoa beans are a brown bean covered in a white film. It's white.
That's what I'm talking about. Jordan, go.
Chocolate is purple.
Okay. Jordan is not doing well
Milka
here.
or nothing, says
Jordan
Jordan.
is colorblind.
Jordan-
We have
Jordan
just
is
learned that the
struggling.
graphic design VP is colorblind.
Jordan is struggling in his NFL interview. All right.
Is there anything more on brand than our graphic design VP being colorblind?
No.
Next question. Where does the sun rise and where does it set? Arthur, go.
I mean, it rises in the east and it sets in the west.
All right. Pitt Girl, go.
The sun is in space. It stays in, relatively speaking, the same place the whole time. This is
All right.
about
She's too
perspective.
smart. I don't want her on my team. Catherine B, go.
The horizon.
Nice. Beth, go.
It rose at some point near the beginning of the universe and will set at some point after becoming a red giant and collapsing.
Okay, I'm getting all philosophical here. Jordan, go.
North, south.
Actually, not philosophical
North
at
and
all.
south. I'm questioning my life. All right. Thank you, Beth. Pondering existence. All right. You're next question. You're on a bus on a mountain in Alaska going 100 miles an hour. Where are you sitting? Arthur, go.
I mean, I'm probably not sitting down. You got to stand up and, do something about that bus.
Yeah, okay. He's worried about speed here. All right. Pitt Girl, go.
Alaska is gorgeous. I am sitting in the front watching the scenery go by and not paying too much attention to how fast we're going.
Okay. Catherine B, go.
I'm figuring that I'm in the back corner because I get on the bus and I'm assuming it's going to be a long journey, and I always just go to the back of the bus.
All right. Aha. Huffs that fuss. Beth.
I am poking out of the emergency exit, looking like some type of wacky racer.
All right. Love it. All right. Jordan, go.
I'm driving it going 100 miles per hour.
Nice. You
That
took
feels
over
right.
the wheel. Keanu Reeves in it. All right. Next question. Will you shoot free throws for us? Arthur, go.
No, I'm not doing anything at this draft workout thing.
Okay, Arthur is Caleb Williams. All right. Pitt Girl, go.
Yes, but you don't want me to.
Oh, okay. Catherine B, go.
Yeah, I haven't played with basketball in a long time, so just for the heck of it, I would, yeah.
Beth, go.
Yeah, I'd love to. Oh, wait, don't stand under the basket. That's not safe.
Jordan, go.
Absolutely not.
All right. I'm draining all three. What are you kidding? I'm missing one. Guaranteed. All right. Next question. Arthur, name as many tight ends you can in 30 seconds.
Well, I mean, you got Gronk, you got Travis Kelce, you got Aaron Hernandez. That's another one.
Jesus Christ.
A lot of tight ends out there. Tony Gonzalez, Gavin Bartholomew. Shout out to Pitt. I already said Travis Kelce. Did you know he's dating Taylor Swift? I mean, that's a big one right there.
All right, Pitt Girl, next. Go. Tight
JP
end.
Holtz. How could you forget JP Holtz? Noted Pitt alumnus JP Holtz. My son, Gavin Bartholomew, several other tight ends that Arthur already named. Philip Lutzenkirchen, RIP from Auburn. yeah. Have we mentioned Taylor Swift's boyfriend? We got to keep talking about Taylor Swift's boyfriend. It's very
Apparently.
important.
Catherine B, go.
Sam Laporta, George Kittle, my guy Mason Taylor, Kyle Pitts, my other guy, Jimmy Graham, duh, Jimmy Graham. This is much harder than I thought it was going to be. Okay, well, I feel pretty good. Kittle, Sam Laporta, the Iowa people.
All right, Beth, go.
Iowa.
Chris Evans, Christian Bale, Zac Efron, Hugh Jackman, Channing Tatum, David Beckham, Cristiano Ronaldo, Liam Hemsworth, and Mario Lopez.
All right, good. Go, Jordan, go.
It's my goddamn joke. Oh, okay, there's something else. Stop. Shit.
You know who we forgot?
Who?
Jake Butts.
Yes.
Ah, the tightest of ends.
Harold E. Butts, the guy that came over with HEB. You took my goddamn joke, Beth. I had it ready. I was set. I had a list. God damn.
All right. Next question. Do you have an OnlyFans account? Arthur, go.
Why, do you want to pay me to have one?
Oh, all right. Getting sassy. Pitt Girl.
I believe that's something we as the Sickos Committee are discussing internally as a business.
I mean, we gotta get some more revenue streams. Catherine B, go.
No.
Beth, go.
Sure,
totally. Jordan, go.
Twitter says I can put, comedy on there, so I should start doing that.
Apparently, they're advertising a lot on Twitter.
Twitter keeps telling me that
it's like, yeah,
normal things are on
I'm
OnlyFans.
just gonna do cooking shows on OnlyFans. Yeah, I'm gonna make just desserts and call it OnlyFlans.
Oh, so close.
Sorry.
If you just bumped that A little more, you would have had it.
Only flans.
You have to
I was trying to make it work as fans.
OnlyFans.
I do love the, marketing feedback loop of OnlyFans advertising and then Twitter advertising and just everything going in a circle.
They have comedy. They have music. They have
it all. All right. A reporter asked Rome Odunze if he could land a plane in an emergency, and he gave a very honest answer. Odunze said, "Absolutely not. We are all going down. All souls have perished." Arthur, could you land a plane in an emergency situation?
I could do it in an emergency situation. I could do it outside of an emergency situation just for fun.
All right. Pitt Girl, go.
I will try my best, but we're probably all going to die.
Catherine B, go.
I'm really mad I didn't think about Michael Mayer for the tight ends. No, I could not do this.
She's like, I can't do it. No, all right. Beth, go.
If you crash a plane hard enough, it becomes land.
That is very true. Jordan, go.
Absolutely, I could.
You can do it?
Yeah.
I say maybe I got like an 8% chance.
80?
8 of
8.
living.
Okay.
So,
that's...
never tell me the odds, but I will try. But, I don't think...
For that freshly plowed field.
The odds are against me. I'm just going to say that. And then the final question that we got here. Is space real? Arthur, go.
Yes. I mean...
Pitt Girl, go.
I don't know.
Birds are not real. Space is.
All right. Catherine B, go.
People died for this. People were murdered for this. Space is real.
Big Bird almost died for this.
Big Bird almost died for this. It's 2 episodes in a row. All right. Beth, go.
Yes, it's real, and someday we'll find you, Miss Frizzle.
Jordan, go.
Space is real, but stars are not.
Oh, all right. It's just nothing but champagne supernovas in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I brought that up is that it was Texas Tech safety Tyler Owens asked, is space real? He said, I don't believe in space. I don't think there's other planets and stuff like that.
Texas Tech safety Tyler Owens.
Oh
I mean, there ain't nothing but space out in Lubbock.
Century popes.
For God's sakes.
Emoji.
For real. I mean, the enemy of safeties and cornerbacks is space. So it's really hard to believe in. Mm-hmm. All right. That was the Sickos Go to the NFL Combine. Thank you so much for playing the game. Everybody have a great day.
So the other fun thing this week was that Northwestern University is selling parts of Ryan Field now. And people got some good things. Unfortunately, we jumped on a little late because there was some stuff on here I actually would have bought.
Yeah,
honest to God, would have jumped in on it.
Yeah, that link is real. So I don't know if it's still got stuff for sale.
No, it does. I'm looking at some
Okay.
of them.
Perfect.
So some things, you can get a $20 recycling bin.
Nice.
You can get a Wildcat sign holder. There's some trash cans with gray lids. There's a steel beam for $550 that I'm interested in.
Like Steely McBeam?
No, just like an actual steel beam. There's still apparently the massage examination table is still there. It has 4 doors.
I don't know if I want that, man. That's like the used mattress that's on the side of the neighborhood
Scotch
corner or
guard
whatever.
that shit.
You're like,
you sanitize the ever living shit out of that. It's fine.
I don't want it. Like the padding's all like misshapen. No, thank you.
So did they find that, or is that what Northwestern actually was using for their student athletes until,
You could get it reupholstered.
They're selling Samsung TVs for $50 a pop as well, but I'm pretty sure they don't work.
Yeah, they're probably like the ones that says like, hey, section this way is that way.
We as a business could buy the 50-foot Northwestern Stadium vinyl banner tarp.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one still there. That's the tarp that they used to tarp off.
If we were to buy it and I can't ship it to my house. There's no way. I don't have the room in the garage for this. Jordan, do you got like garage? I mean, Beth has this giant compound that she lives on, so
Beth could hang it from could hang it from the side of her house.
I would love like Beth to just like hang it from like the back of one house to like, stake it with like some woods there, and then string some lovely festive lights and just have a great, area to grill and stuff.
This is my Northwestern breakfast nook.
There's still the $95 baseball cap available.
So that's the one I don't get.
I don't get why it's $95. It's got Ryan Field dirt on it.
Tickets to Ryan Field never cost $95. I don't know what this is.
I have no idea what that is. I want to give a shout out to Heavenston Cat 1995.
This is great.
He bought the Northwestern Ryan Field sink for $250, but he didn't buy it himself. He went in with 14 different people.
It's a tontine. The last one standing is going to fucking have
everything but the Ryan Field sink.
Oh, God. The worst tontine ever. Oh.
Go Pitt Girl.
I have a very important update. As of time of recording, there are still 18 Northwestern elevator passes available for $25 each. Seems like an important credential we could all have. All 6 of us and 12 of our friends.
Be really careful about ordering any of those $30 stanchions, the retractable barriers. They're going to kill you on shipping. Those things are heavy.
Those things are real heavy. Some of these they won't ship, which is annoying.
No, they ship. Some of the things ship. The elevator passes ship.
What is an ankle elevator?
A shoe.
Okay, no, okay. Actually, I think it just elevates your ankles. Okay. All this stuff is listed as salvage as well, which is the idea that it was salvaged from a stadium that they owned is bizarre. Like, salvage is, you raise
the
a
stadium
ship.
was kind of condemned almost like Rice Stadium. But I really wanted the like lectern or podium that they used to sell programs.
It was really good. It was not
did
that
somebody
expensive.
buy it?
Yeah, I think someone bought it.
Somebody bought it? Oh, I would make that
the
like
steel
a bar.
beam, the purple line steel beam is still available.
I mean, you get your jet fuel and you run a few tests, and all of a sudden,
yeah, we'll finally find out if you can melt steel beams.
I just posted a picture of an ankle elevator in the chat. It's for like I have an ouch, and this one looks way more comfortable than the terrible looking things they're selling at Northwestern.
And the hard plastic one,
torture devices compared to this thing. For when people you hate are hurt.
Unfortunately, the 2 toilet signs they still have are $175, but they have to be picked up. Also, you can buy all this in 4 interest-free monthly installments. Nothing more than I love is going online and finding someone selling like a $10 thing on Etsy in installments. How down bad are you that you're like, okay, I got to split this $10 purchase up. I got to get this, this candle that I'm getting with with Obama on it. I got to split this up into 5 monthly payments.
Hear that drill tweet about candles.
The metal university map sign, the 8x4, I think we need to buy that as a company and turn it into our boardroom table.
Nice.
A lot of this would make like great boardroom table stuff.
I am sad that the sign that was like elevators within the 3 minutes of halftime are only for coaching staff use. I am sad that one sold very quickly because we should have bought that one.
I was amazed that the press box phones that were $25 each, that like landlines, sold like ridiculous. I really wanted the hot dog sign too, but that went so fast.
There's a really nice blank spot on Jordan's wall that we could put some Northwestern signage on.
I'm telling you, like, and the room's already purple.
Mm-hmm.
Friends, what are we doing wrong? What are we doing wrong that we didn't find out about this until most of the good stuff was taken? What are we doing wrong?
Well,
Like,
I think Northwestern fans knew they had to keep it quiet till they got
keep it quiet,
what they wanted.
and then we started to get tagged in the tweets after the good stuff got bought up.
Like
I see how it is, Northwestern
we need
fans.
to do a better job as a brand, making sure that we get to the rummage sale earlier than this.
That's what we need to be. We're gonna start becoming Storage Wars, but for showing up for stadiums that are going down.
Sicko Stadium estate sales.
Yes.
Like, let's just go.
The raccoons of college football.
Hey man, we're showing up when they're demolition Rice Stadium. We're there.
Oh God,
I want a whole section of that. I've got.
Sell me every 40-foot owl item you have. I want all of them.
Oh, you're going to make a henge. Very exciting.
So the thing is that in my parents' outdoor kitchen, they have 2 signs from Tiger Stadium, because whenever they were going to demolish the west upper deck to rebuild it, the night of the LSU-Arkansas game, it was my mother and my aunt. And all of a sudden the game ends and they look around, they realize people are like kind of doing like a mad scramble to like get their souvenirs because everyone knows they're going to scrap the part of the stadium.
Yeah.
And so my mother and aunt start like bending back and forth these 2 signs from the stadium for the section that we sit in.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden this man comes and like has his pocket knife out and cuts down the 2 signs for my mother and aunt. Now, the story's not done yet because they have to get the signs out of Tiger Stadium. And there are cops, except that there are another couple of cops who were sheriff's deputies who saw my mom and aunt with the signs and said, "We got you," and took the signs and hid them under their ponchos and walked my aunt and mom out of the stadium and then gave the signs back to them. And so we have like Tiger Stadium insert section number here for where we sit, and then we have underneath it no smoking.
No smoking. Can't have that.
Is amazing.
No smoking the sky meats.
So in other words, if you really want the good stuff, you got to be on site and have a friend with a pocket knife.
Okay.
Is that what happened? So has Kansas had their sale yet? Because Kansas is ripping down their stadium.
All right. Jayhawk fans, if you're listening to this,
they're going to be the Kansas City Jayhawks for a year.
Take the advice. Sneak on there. You can do it.
Get it now.
Kansas
Bring a knife to a secured area.
No, this is an old Kansas Athletics surplus sale. Damn it.
We all know that Kansas is not playing home games next year in Lawrence, right?
Yes.
They're playing 6 games in Kansas City.
Right. I mean, I think if like Pitt is any indication, like schools have like just surplus departments. Obviously, it's not always full of athletics, but like you'll find a good amount of athletic stuff. Like if you're just like, yeah, I want a bunch of stuff universities aren't using, like you have so many opportunities to get that stuff.
It's a great way to get office furniture. Like, not kidding, actually.
SMU surplus. Let's see. I'm gonna find some fun stuff.
SMU surplus store.
Oh man, this desk has cocaine in it. It's amazing.
Oh my god!
I was gonna make the cocaine joke, but I was like,
look, it's got like an empty panel right here. If you knock on it 3 times, it pops open. There's razor blades and cocaine.
Oh no, it's the death penalty.
Oh no, it's a gold Trans Am.
Oh, from A&M. How did that get here?
The best part of that story, and the part that I always love to tell, is that it wasn't SMU's boosters who gave that gold Trans Am. It was Texas A&M boosters, and the SMU boosters said, "You don't owe them anything. It's your car." Which is
every time I drive from San Antonio to Houston on I-10, I see the Sealy, Texas water tower, and I know that's where Eric Dickerson is from. And every time I see that water tower, I think of that ridiculous gold Trans Am story. So it just cracks me up every time I'm on I-10, and I just smile even though I'm in horrible Houston traffic, ready to come shortly, like Katie and then Houston.
Does anyone have anything to say about the Dairy Daddies?
Oh, I wanted to say something before the Dairy
Oh,
Daddies.
sorry, I missed that part. Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Go ahead.
So
do that
one
part.
of our users on our subreddit, which
we have a subreddit, by the way,
it's
which
like,
we don't promo.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. It's there. It's just like, if you don't want to go to our CFB, just come to us. It's fine. You know, I post like links to most of our stuff, and then sometimes our users, our lovely subreddit followers, you know, they post some things every now and then. This one is from user Twitter_Paul, B as in boy, D as in dog. He apparently came up with a 263 plus team college football playoff. So you can tell this is the off season. I want to start reading some things, and then each one of you, when you tap out of this idea, tap out.
Okay.
Just say whatever number we get to. All right. Number 1, there are no football conferences. All teams act as football independents, so teams can schedule whomever they want, preferably their traditional rivalries. Everybody's still alive after 1, right?
That's fine.
Okay. Number 2, there is also no FCS, FBS divide. We're still alive? Okay.
That's fine. I'm fine with that.
Number 3, to qualify for the playoffs, teams must play a minimum of 6 games, 3 home and 3 away. Teams are allowed to play more than 6 games.
That's fine. 6 minimum is fine.
Okay.
Perfect. Number 4, the season will start the last weekend in August. Teams must have their 6 required games completed by the end of the penultimate weekend in October.
That's really early, but okay.
All right. Number 5, the playoffs will start on the last Saturday in October, with play-in games for teams 250 through 263. If any additional teams move up to D1, more play-in games will be added. This weekend, non-play-in teams may schedule a game in hopes of improving their seeding.
Wait, so outside of team 250, no one else, the seating is not locked in yet.
Okay.
Okay. All
That's
right,
correct.
whatever. Go
Not
ahead.
locked in yet. So it's not locked in.
It's giving FA Cup, and I'm not mad about it.
Right.
Okay. All right. Number 7, teams will be seeded using an updated BCS system, which is made up of 25% computers, 25% AP poll, 25% coaches poll, and 25% New Year's Six committee. The AP, coaches, and New Year's Six committee will operate as they currently do, focusing on the top 25. The main difference is that each coach that reaches the round of 64 gets a vote for the next season in the coaches poll, and their ballots will be made public week to week. The computers will do most of the heavy lifting here, ranking teams 26 through 263 plus.
We should
Out.
burn the coaches poll. The coaches poll needs to be like
Yeah,
destroyed.
the
Yeah.
coaches poll is garbage, but
And the AP poll is not that much better. Absolutely not. Because the AP poll, it's a lot of beat writers, and the beat writers are obviously focused on their own games. They're not paying attention to everybody.
I'm willing to let Massey do all the rankings personally, or use
So
the
like
Massey composite.
and Sagarin.
Use the Massey composite.
Massey
was
It
gonna
takes
say
like all
Girl
the
do
crazy
it.
stuff.
All right,
Yeah.
so Twitter, Paul, BD, we are suggesting the Massey composite here, and get rid of the coaches poll and throw in the Massey.
and Bill C.
I don't know.
Put
I
Bill C
just-
in there.
Oh yeah,
SP
SP plus.
SP plus. Okay.
For the record, I am still completely down with.
All right, Arthur is still alive here.
I'm out.
Commish is still kind of here. All right,
I'm
number
I'm
8.
skeptical but willing to
All right.
proceed.
Number 8. Jordan loves this, and he's probably regretting that he's out. Teams will be reseeded after each round of the playoffs.
Yes, always reseed.
Using that week's updated BCS rankings. The higher seed hosts until the national championship / New Year's Six.
Always be reseeding.
Arthur, you
Always.
still alive?
You know, I like a good bracket. I feel like reseeding ruins that. So yeah, I think this is where I'm out.
All right, there was 3 steps left, so Arthur is done. The reseeding thing ruins the bracket madness. So that's where we're at. So Twitter user Paul BD, Twitter _ Paul BD on Reddit. We have some critiques for this. We hope you listen to the podcast. I will reply and say that we talked about this, so we can improve this. We agree with the concept as a whole,
Yes.
but we can make this better as a committee, and this is what the committee does. We talk about things like this. We deliberate them, and we want to make it better. The playoff, the concepts were good.
I do
Keep it
love games.
I love the
250 to
offseason.
263. Like games 250, like that is like my jam. That is like watching Asia Cup first round, Bhutan v, Papua New Guinea's and Oceania, I think. It's stuff like that. Like those are my jams. I love that kind of stuff. And then y'all, like I said, does anyone have anything to say about the Dairy Daddies that has not been said? This is a summer league baseball team, I believe, that is now rebranded as the Dairy Daddies, or they're new. And it's basically a jacked cow that talks about how jacked he is.
I just want to make people aware of this because I understand that, like, if you're in our Discord, you've seen a lot about this, but I know there are people who maybe just listen to the podcast, might not have heard about this. So I just want people to be aware. If this, I'm going to say, if this sounds like something that is horrifying to you, then like, yeah, sure, maybe don't look up anymore. But if it's not, like, yeah, you can just look up Dairy Daddies and see all their branding. They have merch that they're selling, and a lot of this stuff is really creative, I think. They have tons of milk puns. Like, I mean, you think about I think they were talking about like Field of Creams, and their like store.
His name is McCreamy.
Yeah, on their store, there's like the sizing for their like shirts is not like small, medium, large. It's like skim, like 1%, 2%, like that sort of thing.
Oh wait,
like they're going.
Hold up. You did not get far enough in that, because it is skim, 1%, 2% whole, creamy, and extra creamy. And y'all, I am creamy currently, but I'm trying to get down to whole by summer. Maybe a 2%.
The one thing that I have to say about this is that they're from Danville. And I don't know about y'all, but when I hear Danville, I think Phineas and Ferb.
Mm-hmm.
And so in my mind, this was the local baseball team for Phineas and Ferb.
They're the minor league baseball team of the tri-state area.
There's also the Danville Otterbots, which is the other team that plays there. And they are robotic otters. It's just what it says on the tin, y'all.
Minor League Baseball Incorporated.
I killed plenty of those things in Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah. The shirt that says "Got Milked" might be my favorite.
They have to know that they're asking for a very specific demographic of the internet to become extremely interested in this baseball team, right?
But here's the thing: if you have a bunch of gay dudes showing up for your baseball all summer long, hey.
There is a difference between a bunch of gay dudes showing up for your baseball game and a bunch of furries showing up for your baseball game. The Venn diagram is not a circle.
Furries can be gay dudes.
¿Por qué no los dos?
I'm just saying the Venn diagram is not a circle. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, you're right.
When did we jump the shark on minor league team names?
Yeah, that's the other thing here. Is like I enjoy a good rebrand as much as the next girl.
Like don't get me wrong.
Goats.
I'm a big fan of just the Dairy Daddies. It's hilarious. There's this really suggestive cow winking at me.
He's so suggestive.
Like, hey, like he's just like, hey, I've been looking at you from across the bar,
he's
Dairy
DTF
Daddy.
down to farm.
Yeah, it's like, hey, baby, you want some of my white Russian? But
nope.
Mm.
Oh, hey, it's ad time, guys.
All right.
Hey, we have.
I'm just saying, when did we jump the shark? Like, when did this happen? Like,
hey,
I feel like this happened very quickly.
I don't think the shark has been jumped. I think we can keep going.
I'm just saying, we are heading to, like, there's going to be a point, there's going to be a minor league team that just goes too far.
I like the bananas. I like the trash pandas.
Like, I enjoy that. I love the Portland pickles and, the joke that they do every now and then that their mascot is showing his pickle. Unsolicited pickle pick.
I just need to make sure that people understand that if you're going to milk a boy cow, you're going to need to have a little bit more equipment to store what you get. That's just, it's important for you to know that.
Sorry. I'm just saying, like, when did we go this far? When did we, I remember New Orleans went this far.
Talked about that on this podcast, Beth.
No, it's not. Beth's knowledge of cow semen.
Just because I have a friend with a semen tank in her basement does not make me a bad person.
Hey, you know what?
I mean, like, she does live in farming area, so yeah, we're good.
Visit the farm show, folks. It's the largest indoor ag expo in the country. It's
You can try the milkshakes. Really, they're fine.
We promise.
Okay, ads. First off,
would you like to advertise on our podcast?
Hey, your stuff could be right here.
That's
PA
right.
Dairy Association. If you're listening, we love your milkshakes.
We would like to shout out our newest sponsor, Seven Coffee Roasters. They are out of Seattle. They roast on site. If you use our link, they will send you an email with an offer code, and that code will get you 10% off your first order.
Mish, It's actually this. If you use our link, there's going to be a pop-up that has you enter in your email. Then they will send you a code for 15% off your first order. If you just use our link by itself, it's 5% off, which I figured that out. You're welcome to do that and just pay that, which the 10 to 15, the 10% there is not much of a difference. Get the code, plug it in, but you got to stay on our link in order for us to get credit for that. And I did just get my coffee there. I have not. It smells like phenomenal, like both of the ones that I have. Just the aroma coming from both of the coffee bags is amazing. I need to finish my gallon cold brew before I will grind and do one of these, because they're up next, but I have not finished them. But just click our link. If you want to go through the email dance, you can get 15% off your first purchase. If you already bought from them, just use our link and get that 5% off and just go right ahead.
Sounds good. We also have, for $5 a month, get access to our Patreon and our Discord. That includes new episodes of Commish's Quarter and a fight song podcast yet to be named. I'm just going to go for Rah Rah Rah, but maybe we'll work on that. We also have
rah,
our
rah, sickos boom ba. All right.
We're just going to get yelled at by the full cast because they've already copywritten the Sun God.
There we go. Yeah, hail to Ra. We also have our Substack as well, where we have our podcasts. You can get access to them there as well if you pay for our Patreon. We have our merch store at sickoscommittee.org. We have a YouTube channel, which now has YouTube shorts on it. Those have been going great. Thank you for the feedback. People seem to love those things.
I've had like people text me.
Yep.
Like some of the reporters from like Warhawk Report, like Dusty was just like, these are great. I have suggestions for my character when I'm on the pod. Like they want to like design their own sicko avatar. It's amazing. I love it.
We have our Instagram as well. Our Substack, we're still right now. We just got through our latest article, which was, man, my brain's blanking. Commish, what was it?
Sicko Thanos.
Or Thanos, yes, where we found the teams that were the 5-5 teams that also had the smallest point differential across the entire season.
Perfectly balanced, as all teams should be.
That is correct. But basically, it wasn't necessarily 5-5. Just the 500 teams that also had a 0-point differential. We have a couple of things based off of that. Some of the weird seasons that we found in there. There was a couple of 7-7 seasons, which are kind of really difficult.
That's
to
very
find.
rare, yeah.
There's also one from Hawaii where they went 5-5-2. That's never happened in other NCAA's history. So we're going to do that. Also, we have the weirdest ones where they were 500, but their point differential was over 100 points.
Love it.
Which is ridiculous. Like, you have a 500 record, but you were outscored or scored more, either way, because there's a couple of different ways. It's crazy. Like, either your point differential was negative 100 something or positive 100 something. How the hell are you 500?
And then, as always, shout out Message Board Geniuses. They go to the places we refuse to go, like Panther Lair, which has some crazy Pitt fans. And lastly, if you like licensed, soft, wonderful collegiate apparel, go to Home Field. We have lots of Home Field shirts on tonight. I see a Pitt shirt I'm wearing. the awesome Hawaii Rainbow Warriors with the cool like interlocked letters, which I love. Commish is wearing something. Beth is wearing the Auburn
Gonzaga.
Peacock
I have the
Gonzaga.
Defend
Commish,
the
I
King.
also have that Gonzaga shirt.
Yeah.
No.
I can't wait
And-
until they do the March mystery box. It's
Always-
gonna be great.
Oh yeah.
As always, you can use our offer code yes ha 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 yes has 3 ha's for 15% off your first order. And this week
Yeah.
we will be dropping our Sicko Sneaky 16 Spoiler Squad, which is from all the conference tournaments that are starting this week. We have found a shirt of like a cool team in there, and we're gonna have a bunch of them for 25% off as part of our usual Sicko Shirt Showdown.
It should be
25%
launching.
off.
It should be launching on Monday.
Yeah.
We got 16 shirts from essentially one bid conferences.
This is great.
in
This
March
is
Madness.
so our jam. I love this.
And there's no guarantee that these shirts in here are gonna make it. Also, they're like we have a shirt for Detroit Mercy.
Yeah,
who
we
is
do.
1 in 30 in there. So they're probably not gonna make it. But I believe that they can pull off the most incredible March Madness miracle. The Detroit Mercy Titans. They're also the subject of the next best season of all time for schools who have not stopped having a football team. That's coming out on Tuesday.
Sounds good. Okay. Well, for the second half of the show, we have part 5 of Wasatfawa 600 at our worst season of all time for teams who are above 600 all time. And it's not me for once.
Yeah.
Because Commish and special guest Catherine are going to be talking about 1992 LSU. Go for it, Commish.
So one thing that I've noticed, this is like part 5 of the series that we're done. Every single one that we've done before, it's like the 1950s.
Yeah.
Like there's like 1950. There's nothing recent, recent history wise. Relatively close recent history wise. 1992 LSU, probably about, I'd say maybe about 60% of the folks on the podcast were alive for this season. Maybe less, maybe 50.
50%
Okay.
as of
Yeah, I
the current
wasn't.
edition of the podcast, because
So, like,
I know how old
Arthur,
and
Pitt
Catherine
Girl,
I
and
are.
Catherine B were not alive for this one.
Oh, God.
Jordan, Commish.
I was alive for
and Beth,
that.
we were all
Oh,
alive
yeah.
for this one. I think I remember one of these games because I was probably in attendance of the season, which it was ridiculous. So I wanted to go over this one. And this one is kind of, from New Orleans, grew up with LSU, grew up with like the horrible Saints, grew up with like really bad Tulane football as growing up. So, I mean, really kind of just getting close to the teenage years for Commish at this time. And in 1992, LSU was really bad. It was their worst team of all time, which is kind of saying something if you have like your worst team of all time. And then if you think about LSU nowadays, right? I mean, you got 2019 LSU, you have 2011 LSU who came close, but there was weird BCS fun stuff. 2007 LSU, 2003 LSU. So you have 3 national titles in this time frame since like this weird age of the early 90s LSU. 1992 LSU, they were coached by Curly Hallman. His real first name was Hudson, but he went by Curly. So definitely in for some fun here. I want to give a shout out to From the End the Valley Shook, the SB Nation blog. This was written by Poser. Real name is Stephen Baker, or at Step Baker 1. I can only say his real name once, but he wanted me to refer to him as Poser or Poser, and for the rest of this podcast. So I'm just gonna read what he wrote about Curly Hallman, almost word for word at this point, because it is bar after bar on how bad this 1992 squad was and the Curly Hallman era. So when Curly Hallman took the LSU job, LSU had never had more than 2 consecutive losing seasons in its entire history. Well, Hallman took that challenge and completely wrote the LSU record book on futility. He inherited a 5-6 team coming off of 2 straight losing seasons, and he righted the ship right into the iceberg. Curly Hallman guided LSU through the worst period in its entire football history. His tenure is just not the biggest disaster in LSU history. It is simply the disaster in LSU history. I have linked the Curly Hallman Golden Flake commercial from 1994. If you want to watch it, you're welcome to do that. If you want to insert this here, you're welcome to do it. But 1994 was Curly's one of Curly's last stand. I think that was like a City Slickers movie, but could have been. I have no idea. His record of ineptitude stands unmatched in the annals of Tiger football history. 4 seasons, all of them below 500. So he not only is he the only coach in LSU history to have coached at least 10 games and post a losing record. He posted a losing record in each and every season. Every one of his teams allowed more points than they scored. This wasn't a team that was on the cusp and just got unlucky. The Curly Hallman teams just flat out stunk. He was hired in 1990, and he immediately showed all Tiger fans what we could expect over his tenure. Losing. In 1991, his first game was a 31-10 loss to Georgia. Showing that was no accident, he followed that up with a 45-7 loss to Texas A&M. To put that in perspective, the 1990 team under Mike Archer actually beat Texas A&M. His team closed out the year with a legendary fight in Broussard Hall with the basketball team. There is no word who won the fight, but he probably lost that too.
Worth noting that Shaq was on that team.
I'm about to go into that.
And it was baby Shaq. It was small Shaq, but notwithstanding that fact, it's just this is very.
So I'm going to take a little side note.
Baby Shaq, do.
Baby Shaq, do. I'm going to take a little side trek into this 1991 basketball team versus football team fight. All right. So during Hallman's first season, 1991, several of Hallman's football players were accused of instigating a fight with LSU's men's basketball players, including All-American Shaquille O'Neal in Broussard Hall, the athletic dormitory, 2 days prior to the Tigers' contest with Mississippi State. So I put a link in here, and this kind of details the fight a little bit. So revealed in the book, Shaq Talks Back. It was ridiculous. Shaq had overheard that an LSU football team was getting ready to beat up one of his teammates, Clarence Caesar. He had apparently got involved with one of the football players' girlfriends. As a result, he was on their hit list. But Big Diesel, being the great teammate that he was, decided to step in, and things did not end well. Shaquille O'Neal once got the entire LSU football team arrested after a ridiculous brawl. I love this. Back in the day, Shaq wasn't exactly the picture of discipline he is today. I don't even know when this was written.
Yeah, but say that
published
statement
published June 17th, 2023.
Okay, I guess he's the picture of discipline now. Okay, whatever. He was constantly getting in trouble, and he often found himself in situations he struggled to get out of. Such was the case when he was on the LSU Tigers basketball team. One day in the cafeteria, Shaq heard that LSU football wanted to beat up his teammate Clarence Caesar. So we talked about the girlfriend situation. This
in
is
2003, Shaq was wrapping up his career with the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
Was he still playing in 2003?
Yes.
2023.
I said 2023. I'm sorry. Did I miss
2003.
Okay.
He was finishing up with the Lakers.
Shaq wasn't having any of this. He made it clear that no one was going to beat up Caesar. So he went back to speak with one of the leaders of the football team, prominent linebacker Anthony Marshall. Unfortunately, Marshall refused to hear Big Diesel out and took his straightforward approach as a sign of disrespect. This ended up with Shaq hitting Marshall, causing the entire football team to call for Shaq's head. Ultimately, this ended up with the basketball team and the football team going at it, and the cops getting involved as Shaq fled to his girlfriend's house. Shaq, quote unquote, in his book, I punched him in his face, gave him a 2-piece, and then I ran back downstairs. Not the smartest thing in the world. 5 minutes later, the whole football team was after me, chanting, "We want Shaq, we want Shaq." Did I mention the basketball players at the bottom lived at the bottom of the dorm, where the rest of the floors were football players? Anthony Marshall and a couple of his boys broke down our door. Me and him started fighting again. Then the cops showed. When the football players started beating up the cops, I snuck out the back and hightailed it to my girlfriend's house. The entire team was arrested since Shaq was not at the scene. Nobody saw him at handcuffs, a fact that infuriated a number of the football players. Shaq put in his book, apparently, quote, "It was mayhem, everyone mad. All the football players got arrested, which made people even more angry. A lot of people were saying Shaquille O'Neal was fighting too. He didn't get arrested. The basketball players have special privileges." Now, just think about that.
Noted basketball school,
Noted
LSU.
basketball school, LSU. This is how bad the Hallman era was. Go right ahead, Catherine.
Here's the weird thing about LSU. Whenever the basketball team is good, we have like some of the best players of all time. Like we have Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. We have Shaquille O'Neal. We have Simone Augustus. We have Sylvia Fowles. Like when we're on, we're on. The thing is that we are like so rarely on.
Yeah.
And when we are too chaotic. Oh, I didn't even mention Pete freaking Maravich, which today is the day, you know, going back in time for podcast listeners, Caitlin Clark passed up Pete Maravich's record today. Yeah, so like LSU has some of the best basketball players of all time. We just have never had a great team until last year when weirdly we won the national championship. That's a different story.
Oh, she's very fake humble. I love it. So let's go back to Curly Hallman after we took that detour. Curly Hallman's 1992 season was his true masterpiece. The Tigers went 2-9.
Oh, God.
LSU's first 2-win season since World War II.
Oh, the wars could also count to 2.
Yeah.
Apparently. Bernie Moore's team in 1944 went 2-5-1, but he gets a bit of a pass because it was during a world war. His next two teams would go a combined 16-3-1. The 1992 team lost to Colorado State. They lost to Kentucky. They were shut out by Tennessee, and then again by Ole Miss.
Can't do that. Cannot do that.
Cannot do that. LSU suffered its single worst loss to Ole Miss in the program's history, losing 32-0. And Ole Miss wasn't terribly good either.
I mean, that's just historically true.
Yeah. If it wasn't for Tulane and Mississippi State, Poser says, well, let's not even go there. What's amazing is that Curly wasn't fired after 1992. Like other dictators, he had a 5-year plan.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
I love it. Like I said, this is what I want to read it word for word. It's phenomenal. Thank you so much for writing
Quick,
it.
Jordan, deflect by saying something about the Balkans.
I don't know. God.
No!
Don't do it. Stop. NordVPN. Use our link. Remember, this was a program that had never endured 3 straight losing seasons in its 100-year history. Hallman took the 2-year losing streak and tacked on 4 more.
4 more years.
6 consecutive losing seasons, known here as the dark ages of LSU football. So this is the fun part for this series for me. Is like, you know, the worst team of all time for teams who are above 600 all time. Like, these teams are not used to losing whatsoever. And so, like, when it goes wrong, it goes wrong.
It completely goes off.
It completely goes wrong. Eventually, they'll get it right. But
hey,
when
Nebraska,
it goes wrong,
hear that.
it goes wrong. Eventually.
Yeah. Like, it's funny because this was the year before my parents bought season tickets at LSU. And they, when they bought season tickets, neither of them graduated from LSU. It was like, oh, you know, this is just going to be a fun thing for us to do with the kids eventually, right? Like, they wound up on a whim getting 4 season tickets instead of 2. And, like, it was very straightforward for them. It wasn't very expensive. This is like, Jerry DiNardo was not the best LSU coach. Jerry DiNardo was still such a step up from Curly Hallman that you really can't, like, overstate it. Right. Curly Hallman was just, in my personal opinion, I think Curly Hallman was a plant. I think that he is the Connor Stallion.
The deep state.
Because guess what? You know where Curly Hallman wanted to play his whole life? a la freaking Bama. And you know what? He didn't make it to Alabama.
Nope.
He had to go to Texas A&M. And then you know what happened? He went and he coached under Bear Bryant. And then he began his long-term plan to destroy LSU.
This
I would argue
I love this conspiracy
Curly
theory.
Hallman was an inside
Yeah, that's right.
job.
I'm going for it here. Okay, so bear with me. So I think this was all a plan. And you know what? It was highly effective. And it all goes back to Bear Bryant. It goes all the way to the top. Curly Hallman meant to destroy LSU football, but he didn't. And then the real irony is that you know who built LSU football up? Nick freaking Saban. And did he then stab us in the back, the heart, and several other places like we were Julius Caesar and he was Brutus? Yes. But he made up for what Curly Hallman did to us. And so really, cosmically, it all comes out in the wash.
Catherine, I'm going to have to get you some red string.
Yeah,
you're going to need some more red string.
This is a great conspiracy. I love this.
I want to put
Thank you.
the meme,
Oh, yeah, no, exactly.
It's always sunny. It's perfect right there. I love it. So let me continue with Poser's thing. We'll go back to it. Curly got the LSU job because his Southern Miss teams pulled some big upsets of Auburn and Alabama when he was the coach.
Allowed.
That's right.
Allowed.
There you go. This could reflect on his
allowed.
coaching ability, but it probably reflected on the fact that Brett Favre was his quarterback.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it.
Brett Favre. Curly Hallman never had an All-American at LSU, which was a neat trick considering he had Kevin Mawai on his team.
Kevin freaking Mawai!
That's right.
Kevin
And he is in the
Mawai.
Hall of Fame. He mismanaged talent. He made terrible in-game decisions and brought a once-proud program to a historic low, which is their worst season of all time that I am reading right now.
That's amazing.
I wanted to say, Stepbaker wanted to say here, I was DMing him because apparently he follows us and he enjoys us, which is phenomenal. It always baffles me when somebody enjoys what we do on Twitter. It's ridiculous. They said here, he always gets a kick out of the worst team in LSU history had Kevin Mawai, an excellent left tackle in 1992, who decided to not declare for the NFL draft after the season for reasons passing any understanding. And they moved him to center that offseason. Mawai thanked all of his coaches over his career in his induction speech, except Curly Hallman.
Yep, that doesn't surprise me.
All right, back to what he was saying after he just said that. There is simply no contest here. Curly Hallman is the worst thing to ever happen to LSU football. Hiring him was a mistake, and every year he was not fired was an even bigger mistake. His first 2 years were so disastrous, it was amazing he was given 2 more to further destroy the program. Hallman is the Hindenburg of LSU football coaches.
I mean, that's not totally untrue from what I can tell.
Now, here's what I will say. And this is, y'all heard my conspiracy theory. Now, Here's my theory as to why Curly Hallman was allowed to stay. This period, which is far and away the worst of LSU football, was also the period in which LSU baseball rose to the top of the mountain.
Okay.
And Skip Bertman led so many different national championship teams, including the spring of this year, 1993. You had Todd Walker, who is one of the best baseball players in LSU history. And I could say he was like the best, except for Dylan Cruz and arguably Paul Skeens. So Skeens' argument is a little bit lesser. And I think that having baseball be so good was a balm that sort of soothed the souls of the Louisiana faithful, such that Hallman was given a longer leash than he typically would have been given. Okay. That is my theory. I was not alive, and if I was alive, I was like a baby. But as far as me looking back, it's the only thing that makes sense, because like, this is disastrous. I read about it and I'm like, I can't imagine. I thought when Commish first reached out to me, this is how like spoiled I am, and I acknowledge that I'm spoiled. he was like the worst team of LSU. I'm like, oh God, 2021 was terrible.
Oh
Clearly
no.
No.
Yeah.
No, we made a bowl that year. That's how screwed up in the
there's
head
a
I am.
there's a place in my heart for Jerry DiNardo because like Jerry like rescued essentially LSU from this. Because if you look at DiNardo's like first few years, like just getting above 500 was like a huge thing. Even though like he had the dip after, like he didn't make it last, and then Saban came in, but like just DiNardo getting above 500 and getting to LSU to a bowl game was a huge deal back in the mid to late 90s.
Yeah, I remember people were very fired up at like the beginning of the DiNardo era. And I think that he actually did a lot of work to improve and probably restore the recruiting ties between Louisiana and in-state talent. If you look back at that time, you have a lot of guys who are going to FSU. You have a lot of folks who are just going out of state to different schools.
Yep.
And I think that Saban obviously like created a machine, but DiNardo did lay a foundation. So yeah, shout out to Jerry DiNardo. You can catch him on the Big Ten Network nowadays.
I know.
Which kind of tells you about how well he did overall at LSU, but good on him.
Yeah, he didn't end well. He started well. Didn't finish well. I'll say that. So, I have a couple of different things that I was digging and trying to find some 1992 stuff. I found some yearbook stuff. Now LSU kind of stopped doing their like actual official yearbook in this time frame, and they started doing like it seemed to be like a quarterly magazine called the LSU Gumbo.
Oh God.
That was the name of it. It was just LSU Gumbo. I have a couple of links here. I have like the fall second link here. I have another link here, which page 9, they have some like Cajun recipes. So Beth, hop on into the recipes. If you find anything good, if you want to throw them into one of your 10 crock pots, go right ahead. You're welcome to do that. There is some interesting stuff in the, there's an open pan spaghetti with meat sauce. There's some, there's some crazy stuff. There's a chicken a la Louisiane.
That was what I was looking at just now.
I figured that was all up your alley right there. So back to, the 1992 LSU, the Hammer strikes Baton Rouge. So the MC Hammer.
Okay, yeah.
MC Hammer.
Stop. Hammer time.
That's correct. This is probably before Pumps and a Bump. But Hammer played before not quite Assembly Center in June of 1992. Jodeci and Boyz II Men opened the show.
What?
So you had Jodeci and Boyz II Men opening the show for MC Hammer in 92.
That's a hell of a show.
That is a hell of a show. Like whoever went to that show.
Yeah. So it's kind of a topic of conversation in Baton Rouge now, because they are looking at either renovating or replacing the Assembly Center, which is the Pete Maravich Assembly Center.
That's right.
Because they want to get back to having concerts on campus and in the arena.
Yeah.
They have some music festival that has played at Tiger Stadium, the Bayou Country Superfest. But back in the day, in the PMAC, you could see Fleetwood Mac. You could see all kinds of different people.
Yeah.
Like, it was a stop on concert.
Like a bunch of tours. It was great. I actually saw Garth Brooks in the PMAC. I saw Garth Brooks, and then I got to see him sing, Callin' Baton Rouge. I believe it was the American Honky Tonk Bar Association tour, and I had a shirt, which it definitely no longer fits me. It's probably
because you're now creamy and not whole.
That's correct. I'm probably extra creamy, but yeah.
I'm just choosing to imagine the American Honky Tonk Bar Association as a honky tonk lawyer association.
That's what it was supposed to be.
That's the fun of the song.
That was the point of the song.
Yeah, that was.
Yes, it was. I was. I think I was like in the middle school era. There was an encore, and Garth swung out onto the stage, and the rope broke. That's all I remember. And he fell into the crowd. It was great.
I feel like we might get to this later. Are we going to talk about the Auburn game later?
Oh, we're coming in. I have a full article on the Auburn game. I was actually in attendance for the Curly Hallman 1994 at Auburn game.
Can we take a moment just to appreciate this MC Hammer article, which has the most "Hello, fellow children"
it's
lines
great.
you can imagine. Hammer held a conversation with a man from the audience about one of his female dancers. Pointing to the girl, the gist of Hammer's talk was, "Do you want this?" as the man wagged his chin. On and on it went until the point was finally driven home with Hammer's infamous, "You can't touch this." The song received enthusiastic audience response.
That's right. I mean, everybody did want the girls with the pumps and a bump, but yeah, nobody else.
This,
Hammer,
sir?
Hammer, please don't hurt him. But there's some more stuff. So there's some more articles. Metallica went to the PMAC. So 1990s Metallica. So you had Hammer, Jodeci, Boyz II Men opening, and then you had Metallica.
That's great.
On LSU's campus. And I mean, I don't think LSU students knew what they were getting at this point. Kind of incredible. I love this article from the Gumbo. It says when alternative becomes alternative. And I just want to read this out loud before we get to the actual football games of the season. I'll begin this informal musical review thing by saying the alternative music scene biz is frequently quite irritating. Like any other music genre, alternative music suffers from recurring cases of pocket popularity, annoying occurrences marked by the mindless acceptance and subsequent dominance of one particular sound. When a pocket gets its grip on the industry, flocks of young wannabes come out of the network, all Xeroxes of each other, all scrambling for that 5-figure contract. Remember that Athens pocket and all those REM derivative bands that came out in the late 80s? Remember that Manchester Brit hop pocket that the Stones, Roses, and Happy Mondays started up? Worse even is the Seattle grunge sound that is still barely trudging along, like my friend John says, pertaining to these pocket trends. Everybody goes, "Aw, I like this." And then there's a million other bands that play the same shit.
KLSU hates Nirvana. You heard it here first.
That's right.
Fortunately, alternative music wouldn't go on that much longer.
It would not last anymore after this. So I love that there was this is ridiculousness here. So I want to give a shout out to Gary Governale. This is the preview of the 1992 season. Curly Hallman's first season as the head coach of LSU had a nightmarish beginning. The Tigers were trounced on the road at Georgia and were totally humiliated in College Station by Curly's alma mater, Texas A&M. There was no offense. There was no defense. And the fans were wondering if there was a coach.
Jesus.
Oh my God. Curly, if you're listening to this, Curly, we love you. But oh my God. But the improbable began to happen, and Tigers slowly began to improve. Curly's crew gave what every coach wants out of his team: steady improvement. The Tigers managed to salvage the season, taking the best teams to the wire, claiming victory over inferior teams. Close losses to Florida State and Alabama showed the country that Curly's team was just a few steps away from becoming a really good squad. The Tigers hope to prove it in the up-and-coming 1992 season. But fans...
Narrator voice. They did not prove it in the up-and-coming 1992 season.
But
it didn't happen for them.
But fans won't find any confidence builders in reading the preseason publications. Most have picked LSU to finish fourth in the SEC, in the new SEC West Division, because Arkansas just got added to the SEC this year. You won't find any star players showcased either. Pedro Suarez gets some recognition, but not many teams would brag about their kicker. Without star players, though the Tigers should benefit, team unity could carry them successfully through the season and possibly to a bowl game.
About that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Also, our current kicker's named Damian Ramos, and I think he's quite good. And I'll brag on him.
So I'm going to give a shout out here. Like, I'm just going to continue this. The good news is LSU has 7 home games for the first time since 1987, the year that the Tigers finished 10-1-1. The bad news is the 1992 schedule is murder. 6 of the teams went to bowl games last year, and the others are expected to improve in 1992. I'm just going to go for that. Gary Governale put an ad in this LSU gumbo. It said Gary Governale is a graduating senior in broadcast journalism. If there are any openings of you know of, please call him at KLSU. He needs the money. Gary,
Shoot your shot.
Gary, if you need money, please add us after this. Like we will retweet you, whatever we can do here.
I feel like Gary would have had a pretty decent chance of being better than Curly Hallman at a fairly lucrative position at LSU in 1992. He should have just become the head coach.
Should have. I have the LSU Sports.net football stats. If you want to control F on that link for 1992, go right ahead. I have the repository that goes through mid-season of the gumbo, the LSU gumbo. I will tell you why it stops at mid-season in a little bit. So they have 7 games at home. 5 games are on pay-per-view with something called Tiger Vision.
Yes.
That's when you look through the Tiger Eyes logo.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct. You use Tiger Vision. Before the season in 1992, I am going to zoom in here.
Using your Tiger Vision.
Using my Tiger Vision, the games are going to increase by $5. LSU has announced its scheduling pricing policy for Tiger Vision football pay-per-view games for 1992. LSU will carry on a pay-per-view basis all of 1992 Tiger football games, not otherwise shown on networks. And the price per subscription is beginning with $34.50, beginning with the season. It is a $5 increase over the 1991 season.
It is funny because I do recall as a child, I don't know if it was Tiger Vision, but it was definitely pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Paying for pay-per-view games. I remember when we played Northwestern State, which I only specify because this isn't a Louisiana-focused podcast.
Right, you gotta say that, yeah.
You would know that Northwestern is Northwestern. But anyway, so I recall doing that. Tiger Vision, I think they still do, because I think that the internal cameras at the stadium is still branded as Tiger Vision. So if you're in line at the concession stand,
they do.
You can watch
the game there. Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. You do have, like, Tiger Vision does still exist. There's like some sports that they have on Tiger Vision. I know one of our Discord members, Ben, will probably be like, "Hey, they show gymnastics on Tiger Vision," or something like that. If they don't, he'll probably correct me when he listens to the podcast, and I'll probably get added in our Discord. Join the Patreon to watch Ben correct me on things in the podcast. It's great. It's a lot of fun. I love it. So this is back from And the Valley Shook. The starting quarterback was Chad Loop. He had tenuously held the starting job for 2 seasons as an underclassman and hadn't ever truly impressed. Instead of nurturing the junior quarterback, Curley essentially threw him overboard in the first half of the first game, inserting Ryan Huffman. And then he went back to Loop, and then he went to another quarterback, Jesse Daigle, in the Texas A&M game. That was the first game to start the season.
That's a great
quarterback.
Yeah, that's what you want to see.
That's what you want to do. So Curley played musical chairs at nearly every position. So I posted the season stats for the quarterbacks here. You have like 4 quarterbacks listed, and then you have a fullback by the name of Odell Beckham Sr.
Yeah, the elder.
It is that one, though.
Yeah,
it is that one.
It is.
It is.
So Odell Beckham Jr., his mom ran track for LSU. His dad played football. He wasn't born on campus, but his early days were on campus. He lived in the married couples dorms because there were married couples dorms on campus. And so that was his first home, was actually at LSU.
Yeah, this was nuts. So Curly, he was balancing 7 different guys at the running back slot. And then he had three different quarterbacks at the same time. 23 different players recorded multiple tackles against Mississippi State. He was even juggling his kickers, benching Pedro Suarez for missing a kick, and then replacing him with Matt Heuerkamp, who promptly missed 3 kicks.
This is the moment when we remind you that Kevin Mawai, a Hall of Fame offensive tackle, was moved to center at one point because this guy could not just be consistent with a roster to save his life. The most famous quarterback from this season, arguably, is one that we haven't even mentioned yet, as a side note.
We'll get to him. We'll definitely get to him. For sure.
That sounds promising.
Oh, it's very promising. So, first game of the season, LSU loses to Texas A&M 31-22. LSU opened the season at home. Chad Loop started at quarterback. Robert Davis was the first true freshman to start for LSU since Dalton Hilliard in 1982. Davis rushed for 15 times for 134 yards, but they still lost the game because he rotated 7 running backs. Davis also had the longest run by a true freshman since freshmen were eligible to play beginning in 1972. The run was 76 yards, tying Harvey Williams' 76-yard touchdown against Ole Miss in 87. 8 true freshmen played in this A&M game. Head coach Curly Hallman after the game, "We've got a chance at having a good football team here. I'm not pleased with the way we started the fourth quarter, but we did come back around towards the end."
Do you have a chance of having a good football team here?
Hey, we'll talk about Curly later. I'm sorry, this entire season. So Curly decided to start Chad Loop again against Mississippi State, even though he replaced, previously. He only replaced him with Daigle in the second half.
Hey, for a whole half, that's good.
That's right. LSU got the win. They beat Mississippi State. Mississippi State was ranked at this time.
Hey!
LSU got the win here. They won 21-20, even though Wikipedia had it a little bit different. Apparently, Wikipedia had marked it as 24-3, which I don't necessarily know what happened here, because if I look at
difference.
It says LSU upset Mississippi State. I click in here, and I'm looking, and it says 24-3, so the yearbook is incorrect. The gumbo is incorrect. So they won. And it says, young team builds a foundation. They beat 18th ranked Mississippi State, 24-3. I don't know why in the gumbo it said 21-20. Makes no sense.
I think it may be because the AP clip that you have reads, Louisiana State's defense held off number 18 Mississippi State long enough for backup quarterback Jesse Daigle to lead a late 21-0 rally that gave LSU a 24-3 upset. So I can sort of see how that typo might end up making its way into the final version
Gumbo
of
has
Gumbo.
messed up. Gumbo has failed us. It's okay, Gumbo. It is okay. 2 games into the year, LSU was 1-1, but virtually every position was in flux. No one had any idea about the quality of the team or anyone on it. Not even the coaches. Curly was already floundering in his new era, but no one quite knew how bad things were about to get. Hallman's random starting lineup generator popped out Daigle at quarterback and Robert Davis at running back for the Auburn game. Down 10-0 to Auburn, Curly went back to his random lineup generator, and in came David Butler at running back, and he threw in Ryan Huffman at quarterback. The offense did start to move, but Butler fumbled on 2 of his carries. LSU recovered each one of those fumbles, allowing the drive to continue, but Butler went out, and in came Davis again. Davis would get the ball down to the 6, and then Robert Toomer would come in relief and stretch the ball over the goal line and cut the lead to 10-7. Auburn would march down the field and score on the opening possession of the half. LSU would respond by Beckham fumbling the ball back to Auburn. Etheridge would boot a long field goal. LSU would not gain a yard in its next possession either. Auburn added another field goal to push the score to 27-7. LSU wouldn't gain a yard on its next possession either. Out of options, Hallman looked down the bench and saw freshman Jamie Howard, the fourth quarterback. Artie Moore made an ill-advised return of the kickoff deep out of the end zone, resulting in the drive starting at the LSU 7-yard line. The exact perfect time to put in the true freshman quarterback, Jamie Howard. On the road, down 20, in the shadow of his own end zone. Howard promptly fell down on first down after the snap. An inauspicious start. LSU would then take a false start penalty, and then Huffman came back in the game. Huffman converted on 3rd and 17 while running for his life in the end zone, allowing Curley to put Jamie Howard back in the game. So the guy converts 3rd and 17,
They pull him.
running around for his life. He's like, no, let's put the freshman back in the game. Howard completes his first 2 passes, but then the drive fizzles out. LSU punts the ball the way to start the fourth quarter. They're 27-7 down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I linked an article here. And this is why LSU versus Auburn always makes the Sickos rankings, no matter what it is. This game is ridiculous. So this is from Poser, in this case here. So he, it's ridiculous. It's fine. Whatever. I don't know what's going on.
Commish, may I read from the beginning of this article briefly, please?
Go right ahead.
Auburn, Alabama. A scrawny walk-on kicker whom Coach Pat Dye said looks like, quote, an infant, maybe even feminine, lifted the Auburn Tigers to a 30-28 SEC victory over LSU Saturday when his 5th field goal was good with 8 seconds left. Scott Etheridge, a native Californian whose family now lives in Marietta, may weigh 150 pounds soaking wet, quote, said Dye, but he's got more guts than a 300-pounder.
Feminine.
I assume that this is relation to Zach Etheridge, who I remember playing for Auburn, so...
Also, obviously, Melissa.
That's such a good... Oh, my God. Okay.
Can I actually just throw something in here?
Throw it in.
So this actually isn't even the Auburn game that I was thinking of with Jamie Howard.
This is 94 you're thinking of, and I was
right,
actually
yeah.
in attendance for that one.
So just a brief interlude. While this is the worst LSU year of all time, whatever, we have to talk about Auburn 1994, which is commonly called the interception game.
Yep.
Because poor Jamie Howard threw 4 interceptions, 2 of which were pick sixes.
That's
just
impressive.
one of the worst performances ever.
Commish was in attendance.
A side note too, Jamie Howard's son Walker was committed to LSU, went to LSU for 1 year, and then transferred to Ole Miss. And honestly, I'm just shocked that he even went to LSU in the first place because, man, oh man, it's just tough. The Jamie Howard performance against Auburn in 1994 is legendary for how badly behaved the radio callers were after the game. This is Louisiana. You can imagine.
I remember walking out of Jordan-Hare, and I was like early teens, and I just looked at my dad. I was like, why the hell were they throwing the ball up 23-9? It did not make any sense to me. And then they continued to throw the ball, which was even more incredible. And there was like 2 pick sixes. I don't even know, maybe 3. I have no idea. I didn't even bother looking it up, but it was just like
2 pick sixes, 4 interceptions.
Yeah, in the fourth quarter, that LSU was up 23-9.
That's a lot.
I have never forgotten that game. So this game, let's just say LSU fought back to take the lead with 1:43 left, and but then the weird looking freshman kicker for Pat Dye,
the feminine one, who actually was in Pat Dye's last season, booted it through, and Auburn won the game 30-28. The next game after that, LSU lost to Colorado State. So Jamie Howard earned the start in the infamous loss to Colorado State. Howard's gig didn't even last to the end of the first quarter. Curley inserted Huffman into the game in a panic move when LSU was up 7-0. Huffman went 0 for 6 with an interception. Jamie Howard was 10 for 23, but the Tigers defense allowed 365 yards totally, and then 83 yards in the final 7 minutes, which was the Rams' victory scoring drive. I just want to give a shout out to the program that they had here. Look at those beveled LSU Tigers. Oh, they're great.
Oh,
Very
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so shiny. It's so shiny.
The next game, LSU lost to Tennessee 20-0. It was the first time that LSU was shut out by Tennessee since 1944.
This is the part of every time we do these things that I love. It's when we start having to be like, oh, this is the first time it's happened in 80 years. Like, that's what I love about this.
Jamie Howard went 10 for 23 in this game. Also, had 124 yards passing. The Volunteer defense only held the Tigers to 40 yards rushing. In this note, the Gumbo magazine stated, the staff regrets we could not follow the Tigers' progress to the end of the season, but we had to print before the conclusion of the season. Look for more Tiger football in the January-February issue.
I mean, or don't. Maybe
I
don't.
looked at the winter issue. They didn't bother.
No, I hope so.
They just gave it up. They were just like, I'm done. Done. Florida, that was the next game. They held off LSU. LSU tried to come back at the last minute, but they were able to hang on. The funny thing is that Florida's defensive coordinator was Ron Zook.
Of course.
Florida won 28-21 there. Then we get to that lovely part of the seasons. The Kentucky Wildcats beat LSU, and that ended a 13-game losing streak.
Road losing streak.
Losing streak. Yeah.
Oh,
So, yeah, it was not an ideal season there. So Kentucky won that one.
Walks into Death Valley and wins. God.
Yeah, it's just awful to read. Like, I just can't imagine. I've never lived through anything like this. Then you read the next one's Ole Miss routs LSU 32-0.
So this was a Halloween game.
Hell?
Oh, that's
And
beautiful.
the Halloween game, it says Ole Miss puts LSU in the trick bag.
Oh.
Interesting that they play in Jackson.
Oh, that is weird.
So they did
Yeah.
play in Jackson
I mean,
at
Ole Miss
Mississippi
used-
Veterans Stadium.
yeah, that's where Jackson State plays. I mean, Ole Miss used to play some of their big games there for sure. So that would make
Okay.
Yeah, who knows if Vaught Hemingway was there. The next game was LSU versus 1992 Alabama. If you remember 1992 Alabama, they wound up winning the national title.
Yep, so this should be fine.
Should be totally fine. LSU lost 31-11, and the picture is their lovely, lovely kicker, Suarez, doing the surrender cobra on his helmet, missing the field goal.
never want that for your own team.
So the next game after this one, after there's like a horrible losing streak, is Tulane. It's the battle for the rag. Both teams awful. Buddy Stevens, first year, 2-8. Curly Hallman, second year, 2-7.
Oof.
Horrible. You remember Tiger Vision pay-per-view, right? Tiger Vision said we're not carrying this game. Like nobody is carrying this game. LSU football game against Tulane on November 21st, Tiger Stadium will not be carried by Tiger Vision. The school announced Thursday the game will not be shown on any network television, and kickoff will remain at 7 p.m. Financial obligations.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's great. Tickets for the LSU Tulane homecoming game, which is the 1992 homecoming game for LSU. They're on sale, $18 each plus a $4 surcharge per ticket.
Whew.
Tickets are all available at Ticketmaster by calling their number, right?
Man, Ticketmaster out here scamming people since at least 1992.
Yeah.
I would also just like to take this moment to appreciate LSU for claiming that this is because of financial obligations, but this was actually a public health decision. This is protecting everyone's eyes.
Yes.
From
Protect everyone's eyes.
1992 LSU Tulane.
I got the LSU records here, and it was just like Tulane, Buddy Stevens, record at Tulane, 2-8. Head coach Curly Hallman, record at LSU, 6-14.
Which, hey, just to remind the folks at home, shout out to Buddy Stevens, and
Buddy's
shout out to a
awesome.
legend. Would go on to just be sort of a major figure at Dartmouth.
He's a
Jordan,
Dartmouth legend.
your guy.
That's right. So Tulane was 2-8 on the year. I had LSU's record wrong. They were 1-8.
Oh God.
even worse.
So we beat those jerks in New Orleans.
That's right. The temperature was 73 degrees. The winds were southeast from 12 to 15 miles an hour. There was a tornado watch for this game, and there was a 50% chance of rain.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It must have been a high pressure front coming through because they're saying that it must have been a cold front coming through, in other words. Anyway, carry on.
All right. So after Jamie Howard took beatings at the hands of all the SEC folks, right? He let freshman Jamie Howard face all these SEC teams. He took his starting job away for Tulane.
Of course.
He allowed Chad Loop to notch the win against the Tulane outmatched foe. I'm sure that would have long-term ramifications on Howard's confidence. Like Howard, Loop would not hold on to the QB1 position for the first quarter of the next game. The headline says LSU waves bye to a dreary season. It was an apt setting for a pair of teams having rather drab and dreary seasons. For LSU and Tulane, two teams brought in a combined 3-16 records and a 13-game losing streak.
Spicy.
And a steady third quarter rain made for both sloppy conditions to go along with the less than perfect play. LSU took advantage of Tulane miscues, emerged with a 24-12 victory at Tiger Stadium before a soggy crowd of less than 60,000.
Ooh.
So Tiger Stadium holds 100,000+ now. Back in those days, I would think it would hold 90,000.
It was 92,000.
Yeah. So yes.
Yeah.
Not even 2/3 full.
Yeah.
Curly Hallman, when reached for comment in this article, it says, "I promise you, I am very excited about this win."
Bet you are, Curly.
And he goes, "It's been a long time coming."
Oh, has it, Curly?
Yeah.
Has it been a long time coming? I wonder whose fault that is, Curly.
So the next game of the season, the final one here, the Arkansas game closed out the worst season in LSU history. A 30-6 loss that wasn't even as close as the score. After a full season to find his guys, Curly would have achieved precisely no clarity. All 7 running backs got at least 1 carry, none more than Davis's 8. Loop and Howard each had over 10 passing attempts, and Huffman had 7. 10 different players caught a pass in a 2-receiver offense.
Yep, fuck it.
2 different punters evenly split the duties. Curly hadn't even decided on a kick returner, which was evenly the split between Butler and the Keys.
Well, how do you know what's the best in your recruiting class if you don't try everything?
That's right. Let's try everything. The season ended where it began, with no one knowing their role. The hope from that recruiting class and the fourth quarter comeback against Auburn laid in the ashes. The article was just ridiculous. It was 31 degrees. The crowd was 32,000, the smallest at Razorbacks Stadium since it was expanded in 1985. Arkansas just blew LSU out of the water. It was incredible. And
Curly Hallman said, "It's time for us now to clear our minds and clear our heads. We need to look at everything from A to Z." Curly, you already did that.
Yeah. You played everyone from A to Z, Curly.
I will say this. LSU probably should have known what they were getting into when they hired a head coach that had one of the name of the Three Stooges.
Yeah. Can't have a Mo or Larry or Curly. No, well, I was going to say Larry Fedora, but nope, he sucked too, so nope. Okay, Commish, thank you. Catherine, thank you for reliving the trauma with us in a very public way. Always happy to do that with folks. And I think that's...
It's just nice to know that we really dug ourselves out of that hole, and now we're on top of the world. Hey, now, watch out.
And now nothing bad can ever happen to LSU football again.
Oh, no.
We'll live forever. Nothing can hurt me.
Oh, no.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Okay, kids, that's all we got for today. We'll see you on the other side.